Hello, it's me coming on again to just chat with you real quick. And I hope I'm looking straight in the camera here for y'all. But I wanted to get on real quick to share, to really follow up on my last videos and share like an update on what's going on with my car. Because in the last two videos, God is still good. That's the latest one where I talked about my car, and God will come through for you, where I shared how the organization that I'm with paid for my car to get fixed. So just to kind of, go back to that and let y'all know what the outcome was and how things stand now. So like I said in the last video, I was actually a participant at the Salvation. I was part of the Salvation Army program called it's like a campus called Door of Hope. And I was there for last November. I was there until this past June. So literally for 7 months I was there. And when I arrived there, and in my last video I talked about this, where I arrived in the car. Let me think. Did the car actually get fixed by that time? The car was actually still, when I arrived at the Salvation Army, the car was still working. But yes, I remember now. So I had actually gotten the car fixed. But when I got to the campus, and after getting the car fixed, I'm thinking, boom, like it's fixed. It's good to go. But then there was some other things that were happening to the car that was almost like, it was almost like I never got the car fixed, because the same thing that was happening before was happening again. So I was kind of distraught, but one of the things that I knew, like, it was still drivable. It was drivable to the extent where I could get to this particular job that I was working, but I had to drive it really just very careful, very slow, because it was stopped literally at any time. Like on the street, it would just, if it would start to shake, and boom, it would stop. So anyway, I was able to drive it in the beginning when I was at the Salvation Army. And then when I was working at this job, the people who I worked for were like, why don't you go to our mechanic? They should be they're really, really good. They raved about them or whatever. So I actually decided things went awry with that job. I stopped working that job, but I still wanted to go to their mechanic. And I did. So when I went to their mechanic in this area called Mira Mesa, I go to the mechanic, and at this point the car, it was drivable, but I still had to drive, pretty slow and so forth. So I get there, and the car has to stay there for like a couple days. It actually, no, I think actually with them, they said that they needed it for like a week to really thoroughly look through and determine what was wrong with it. So I left it there. I think it had been there for like 2 weeks. So when they finally contacted me to pick the car up, somebody drove me, one of the ladies drove me there because she was going to just drive behind me just to make sure that everything was okay. So I get there and the car is not, it will turn on, and we're like, great, I'm picking up the car, going back. The car literally, it wouldn't even drive 2 minutes. It would drive like a minute and shut off. And then when I turned it on, it would like be on for like 30 seconds and then turn right off. And it just kept doing that. Turn on, turn right off. Turn on, turn right off. So I'm like, oh, this is crazy. Like, it was actually even worse than what it was before I brought it to this particular mechanic. So I was like, this is just, Lord, what is going on with this car? So it was terrible. So the car, literally, I could not drive the car back to the campus. And I was just like, this is just terrible. I don't know what I'm going to do. Now I really got to get, I've got to figure something out. I don't know how I'm going to do this. These people just paid for the car. I didn't want to go back to the people that paid for the car, to the place, because I didn't feel like I was even wanted there in the first place and treated well at all whatsoever. It was very troublesome, even that experience of getting the car fixed. It was troublesome, and then God helped me on how to deal with it, on how to move forward with them working on my car, and which I did. I followed God's instructions and got, and they worked on the car, supposedly fixed the car, and that was that. I feel like that experience was actually like a test or something. But I got through that. But anyway, I didn't want to go back to them, even though it would kind of make sense. Like, we'll go back to the place that supposedly got it fixed from. It makes sense, but I just didn't want to. So anyway, Mira Mesa mechanic place that I went, that was recommended to me. Yes, after I went to pick that car up, it would not work. So I'm in this moment where I'm like, okay. So basically, I just left the car. I parked the car right on the side of the street there for next to the mechanic place, because I was like, well, they said that this and this is wrong, something about spark plugs or something, but actually that's the very thing that the other mechanics said that they fixed. So I'm like, let me just leave it here. I'm gonna get it fixed here. So time went on. I went back to campus, back to my normal routine. And then I had a thought, which I don't know why I didn't think about this at first, because I have AAA. I don't know why I didn't think to get my car towed back to the campus to have it there. But I think also I was thinking, let me just keep it close to where, just keep it here, because in my mind, I'm going to raise the money and I'm going to have them actually fix the car. So time goes on, and then it does get to the point where I'm like, you know what? I need to go ahead and get the car and bring it to the campus. I did not raise the money. I just decided, let me go ahead and just get my car. I wanted my car close to me, because at the Door of Hope campus, there's a particular time. It's so hot, y'all. Woo. It's so hot and I'm sweating. But there's like a particular, it's a time situation. Even though I was there for 6 months, 7 months, I actually asked them, how long has someone ever stayed at the Door of Hope campus, and they said 6 months, and I ended up staying there 7. But the way it works is you have to keep asking for an extension, and they could say no at any time. So it was like, let me get my car and make sure that I have my car just in case if I have to roll out of the Door of Hope at any time. So I did that, and I got the car, and I still continue to try and find funding to get the car fixed, and it just didn't happen by the time that I got out of the Door of Hope. But what did happen was this. Now, when I got the car, AAA towed the car back. It turned on fine for AAA to be able to get it up the ramp or whatever. And then when I got it back, I decided, I said, let me just drive it, because I have to make sure that it's at least drivable enough for me to drive off of this campus. That's what was in my head. Like, I need to make sure that I can drive off of this campus, even if I have to park it on the street corner, just if it can't drive nowhere else, that's just where I will be, sitting there, just living in my car right there. This is where my mind was at. Woo, it's hot. I gotta turn the car on and turn the air on. Woo. And yes, sorry y'all. So, because it is hot in San Diego. It is, this whole weekend is going to be like in the 90s. It's crazy. So anyway, in my mind, I'm like, if I have to, first of all, let me back up for a second here. People were like, what are you going to do about your car? If your car don't work, and you have to leave, what are you going to do? And I kept saying, God is not going to not let my car not work if he knows that I have to leave the Door of Hope. That was my response every time. And I believe that, but it was, it was still a part of me, like, but I still want to try and raise funds to try and get the car fixed. So I was still like in that mode of like, I want to get my car fixed so I can be prepared for when I have to leave here. But also, I know when I really have to leave here, God is not going to let me. He knows I'm here because of him. And he's going to protect me, and he's not going to let my car not work when I have to leave. That was my response to anybody and everybody when they were asking me, what are you going to do, about your car? And in my mind, I was just like, my car is going to have to work. So when it came time, well, before I even say that, during the time I was there at the Door of Hope, I obviously, because the car wasn't working there, there was, once it came back from that mechanic, I didn't drive it because I was afraid to drive it, because I was remembering what it was doing in Mira Mesa. So there was a girl there who, she literally drove me around, and, also the case manager there as well, to, so I can get things done. But there was a girl there who, she would, she was very nice to drive me, grocery store, this store, that store, wherever I needed to go. And at first she did it, you know, where it was like she wasn't even asking for any money, you know, any gas money or anything like that, just out of the kindness of her heart. And then if I really needed something, if I really needed her to take me somewhere, you know, I would like give her gas money, you know, offer that or whatever. But what happened was this girl's car, something happened with her car. Something happened with her car and her belt. Something was happening where it was like this loud noise. It was just like all of a sudden, you know, something's wrong with her car. So I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, like in my head, I'm like, dang, this is crazy, you know. My car, her car now. This is crazy. So, you know, as it got closer to the time that I knew that I would have to leave the Door of Hope, and knowing that her car was being weird, you know, doing what it was doing, something in me, which I know it was the Lord, you know, that the Holy Spirit that prompted me to do this, to do it for her. And also when I did it, you know, it was like a knowing within myself, like, I'm doing this for my car too. And what it was that I paid for that girl's that girl's belt to get fixed on her car. It wasn't a lot, you know, but I mean, it was something. It was, you know, substantial, but it, you know, it wasn't like, it didn't hit me over the head. But you know, when I had some money come in, I thought about her, and I was like, you know, I was like, I'm gonna sew into this girl's car. I'm gonna sew into her car for my car. I'm gonna pay for this belt, because she was struggling and she couldn't pay for it. She was struggling to pay for it. She didn't have the money. So, one day when she was doing, you know, taking me, we were going on one of our driving excursions. You know, I was like, take me to that mechanic, because I need to know where that is so I can be able to go get my car fixed from him, because this is the mechanic now, and this is a totally different mechanic from Mira Mesa. This is the mechanic that the case manager at the Door of Hope said, why don't y'all, you know, go to him, this guy, because this guy is really good and you should go to him now. So I'm like, okay, fine, I'm gonna go to him. So when I told her, I was like, take me to go see this guy. I need to meet him, let him know about my car or whatever. So when I was there, when she took me, I actually went in there and I paid for that belt for her, and she was just beside herself. She was beside herself when I did it, and it just felt so good to be able to do it, to help someone else out. But in my mind, and she didn't know this, in my mind, it was like, I'm paying for my own car to get fixed. I'm sewing into for my car. So, y'all, after that, she was happy. You know, her car was fixed and she was good to go. And then, but still, you know, my car, people were just like, what are you going to do? Like, they just, you know, the whole thing was, what are you going to do about your car? Like, how? And again, I just kept saying, I have faith, you know, that God is not going to let me fall. He knows that my car is not, you know, he knows what's happening with my car. There's no possible way that he's going to let me, you know, just be out there like that. Like, so He's so good. God is so good. And that is why I'm titling this video my miracle car, because this is a literal miracle. The fact that when I did have to leave the Door of Hope, before I left, I just started to drive my car around the campus just to get it back, get it acclimated, drive it around the campus, which I did. And then when it was time, what happened was, when I had to leave, I didn't go straight back to JFS. I actually had to park on the street, because you have to wait. It was just like I had to wait a few days in order to get back into the JFS safe parking gated program that I was in after leaving the Door of Hope. So I had one night on the street, and then the car drove fine. And then, but I'm still, I'm driving it slow as molasses. I'm so just trying to be so careful. So boom, day 2, same thing. On the 3rd day, I had an appointment with the mechanic. And on this day, I think I was supposed to meet with him early at a certain time. And that night I ended up I think I was charging my phone at night, and I didn't think, I was like, I wasn't even thinking that the fact I didn't charge it for all night, my phone, but I charged it for a few hours at night before I turned my car. You know how you turn your car on halfway or whatever, and your battery is still going? That happened. So the next morning when I had my appointment, I go to turn my car on. I can't turn my car on. So I'm like, oh my gosh, whoa, oh. So I called the mechanic, and he's like, gotta jump and come here and come to me. So I was like, oh, okay, get a jump. All right. So I asked people around me, somebody to give me a jump, completely forgetting that I have AAA. And I can just have them come and give me a jump. But anyway, because the people around me, one guy, he's like, you don't need a jump. He's all like, you don't need a jump. This and this, it's electrical or something he was saying. And he wouldn't even give me a jump. And I was like, oh my gosh. So then boom, light bulb went off, call AAA, girl, you got AAA. What are you thinking? So I called AAA, and they came, right? And don't you know, they gave me a jump. I asked them actually for a tow. I said, I think I need a jump, but also bring the tow truck. They bought the tow truck. That guy jumped my car. This is in June. This past June. Ever since, they jumped my car. So when he jumped it, I was ecstatic. I went straight to my new mechanic. He put the thing in the car to check the codes, to see why the car, to rectify everything that had been going on with my car, to try to figure out what's wrong with my car, why the other place messed up, why Mira Mesa. And he was so nice and looked through all of the paperwork from Subaru, every place that I had went to try and define and understand what's wrong with my car. He actually sat down and looked through it all with me. Well, anyway, he put the machine in the car for the codes to see what's wrong with my car. Nothing. Literally nothing. Nothing came up. that was wrong with my car. And so with that, I was just like, this is crazy. This is, because he can't do anything to my car, regardless to what I say is going on with my car. He would not do anything on my car unless codes came up telling him what was wrong with it. Not one code came up that was wrong with it. So, and since June, my car has been driving just fine. So I'm like, oh Lord, thank you. Then it occurred to me, I was like, dang. I was like, God, I was like, maybe, I was like, this is maybe that. It was just like the moment of knowing, like, I sold into that girl's car for my car. God has given me a miracle that my car has 0 codes. Nothing is coming up that's wrong with my car, and my car is working. No problems with my car. There are sometimes, it has mileage, not a whole lot of mileage, not astronomical mileage, but sometimes it'll act funny if I know if it needs oil, because it's a 2012. It's not super old, but it needs a different kind of maintenance now, so I have to keep my oil in it. But y'all, God just gave me a straight up miracle that my car is working and perfectly fine. Just perfectly fine. It drives. I don't drive it super fast. I still baby it and take care of it. But the codes, that used to come up, there's some times where, like, and this is when I know that, because in San Diego, there are a lot of hills. There's a lot of, like, like you're kind of going straight up. It's not a lot of it, but it is, it's hills. San Diego is hills and valleys and stuff like that. So there are certain times where, when I do have to go up, it's like when it has to take a lot of energy out of the car, it seems, it will shake a little bit. And I will see what I used to see. Engine light, it will be like 3 lights, 3 things that come on, traction or whatever, like three different little things that come on the screen. But when that used to happen, they would come on the screen, and then my car would shake, and boom, it would shut off. My car has not shut off. Glory to Jesus. Glory to your mighty name, Lord. That it'll come on and it'll shut off. Like, it's almost like it will, it'll show me like it wants to and shake a little bit, but it will not shut off. The car has not shut off on me and has been driving fine. And I just give God the glory and just want to encourage that. I'm going to give you this scripture. It's a couple of scriptures. But just be encouraged that God is not going to let you fall if you keep the faith, and if you understand what's going on. The fact that, like, God is taking care of you, that he is actually your provider. He is going to see to it that nothing is going, he's not going to let you fall. Nothing is going to take you over. You might think, like, this is, this has been going on so long. This is, whatever the situation is, keep your faith, because he's not going to let you fall. And so Matthew 17:20, I'm just going to read this. I'm going to read 19. So the disciples, this is where the disciples were talking to Jesus, and it says, afterwards, the disciples asked Jesus privately, "Why couldn't you cast out that demon?" why couldn't we cast out that demon? And Jesus replied, you don't have enough faith. Jesus told them, I tell you the truth. If you had faith, even as small as a mustard seed, which is the kind of faith I had. I mean, I'm being honest, like I still was, even with my faith, I was still trying to like get resources to get the car fixed and stuff like that. But I still had the faith that even if I don't get any money, if I don't get any resources, if I don't get any help, God is still not going to let me fall, because he's just not going to let that happen. I don't know how it's going to work out, and this is literally what I told people at the Door of Hope. I was like, the only thing that I have is my faith, to keep my faith, knowing that that he knows what's going on in my situation. So he says again, I tell you the truth. If you had faith, even as small as a mustard seed, you could say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. Nothing would be impossible. So this is my miracle message about my miracle car, that nothing is impossible for God if you continue to have faith, even as small as a mustard seed, about your situation. And just know that he's not going to let you fall. He loves you. All right, so I'm going to leave y'all with that. I love y'all very much. Thank you for continuing to be a subscriber of mine. I'm trying to get to my 500 subscribers. I think I have a lot of ways to go, but I will get there by faith. I will get there. Yes, and you can help a sister out if you can by having someone tell a friend to subscribe and comment, and help build me up if the messages are of any encouragement to you. All right, love you. Bye.